there's a whole new church on here. Starting today, our goal, the board's goal, the practitioner's goal, our goal, and I want to enroll you in it, that by this time next year, we have at least 100 or more people attending this church on a regular basis, because that is what you deserve, we deserve, and we want to make a difference in people's lives, and that is the intention, is that we're all more spiritually fulfilled. So we're off to a great start with Les, aren't we? Absolutely. We've had some chats about our backgrounds, about our childhood, about our spiritual search, and we resonate. We're like brothers from another mother, you can say. Absolutely. So today, in honor of New Year's, the title of the message is Starting Here, Starting Now. And it's about taking the difficulty out of goal setting, and how, unless you set goals in your life, it's kind of like going on a vacation and having no place in mind where you want to go. Goals, people think, well, I don't want to have any goals. You watch a football game because there's goals. If there wasn't a game going on with goals, you wouldn't watch the football games. And how to take the difficulty out of goals, and goals can be friend or foe, and how to make your goals your friend, and have fun, joy, and aliveness in the acquisition of the goal, the trip along the way to the goal, and when you reach the goal. Sound interesting? Now, about newness. All joy, all love to be loved has to be renewed all the time. It's new all the time. All possibility, all inspiration, everything in your life that's ahead of you is ahead of you and excited because of newness, because of change, because of newness. And when you apply spiritual principles to goal setting and the new, life is absolutely amazing. I got to read the Bible. In the Bible, it says this. There's a lot of speaking in the Bible. And really, when you interpret this metaphysically, it's a handbook to higher consciousness. It's about you. It's about our lives. This thing hasn't been around for 6,000 years for nothing. There's really so much value in the good book. In the book of Revelation. Now, the book of Revelation is really about revealing your inner spiritual self to your physical personality, that self, the self in the world, and the self in your inner world. And it says this. Now, God is speaking here in Revelation 21, and God says, "The former things have all passed away. Behold, I make all things new." Now, if you look at your life as a work in progress, your fears, your uncertainties, and your doubt have no power to take away your self-esteem. If you look at trying to be perfect, have it all together, that's a game that the ego plays. Nobody has it all together. There was a teacher, and she's teaching her students about the value of goal setting. And she's telling the students, she said, you know, Abraham Lincoln studied at night by campfire. Mozart created his greatest compositions by oil lamp. Galileo invented by what was just a little tiny little light. They all did it. At night they would do these things. And little Johnny raised his hands and said, you know, if they're all such geniuses, why didn't they just do their work during the day? You know, it's like doing your work during the day, doing what's in front of you. Not I'm going to be happy when, I'm going to be happy when keeps you unhappy now, because when is happy over there and I'm not happy over here. It's about right now, here and now. Dr. Ernest Holmes put it this way. Now, he put it this way. He said this. Now, please hear me. There are only two things in life that your soul craves and my soul craves. It craves love because that's who you are. And your soul craves adventure because that's what love does. The adventure of life, the newness, the possibility. That makes our now really, really great by looking forward to the new with the anticipation now and having it now. Or Dr. Ernest Holmes put it this way in the Science of Mind textbook. One by one, without frenzy or impatience, we are going to remove the mental blocks that stand between you and your destiny. And that's what goal setting is about. It's about removing the obstacles, the stepping stones, the mental blocks, whatever you want to call it. Now, what you get by achieving your goals is nothing compared to what you get and discover the strong, powerful, willing, disciplined person you are on the way to the goal. So on the way to the goal gives it to you, and then you get the goal, and it gives it to you. Am I making sense to you? It's like, this is what it's really about. Ernest wrote, I expect fully and emphatically, the answer to my prayer today. Remember, Jesus said, when you pray, pray believing it has already happened, and then you shall receive it. He's talking about being in the receiving already. Now, today, right now, do I possess the thing I so greatly desire? And yes, I do. Now, you don't have to raise your consciousness. All you need to do is lower your ego. Because when you lower your ego, you get to that high place of consciousness called humility. The word humility, humble, comes from the word being teachable. Actually, being willing to learn new things and not pretending like we have it all together. Absolutely. Some wise soul said this: success in life comes when you refuse to give up, with goals so strong that obstacles, failure, and loss only act as motivation. They're not there to stop you, they're to give you inspiration and motivation. Now, when you're being instead of doing and having, you are already in consciousness at the goal. Things are created twice. First in your mind, and fully in your mind, and then in the world of conditions. Now, the thing, Frank Sinatra had it wrong. He said, doobie doobie doo, oh doobie doobie, doobie doobie doo. No, it's be, do, have, be, do and have it. The being comes before the having. Absolutely. Your being comes from before the having. If you're being first, then your doing and your having automatically comes to you. If you're trying to have, and if I do enough, I'll have enough. If I have enough, I'll do enough. And we become busy and frustrated and full of frenzy. It's the other way around. Now, one of the things I love to do, as you all know, is I get my exercise by ocean swimming with my scuba gear on. And Thursday I worked on my talk. That was good. I worked on my talk. And then again on Saturday. I take 2 days, 8 hours each day, putting this talk that looks spontaneous together. Doing the work, the goal. Les has spent years and years dedicated to the goal of being a great singer, a great performer, and a great musician, and that's what you see. You know, I want it right now. I want to be a star today. I want to be admired. If you want to be admired, admire yourself for going for it, absolutely. Some out there get all this stuff on. There's one lady named Jan, she's out there surfing all the time, and she said, Brian, are you going surfing? I mean, are you going diving in the rain? And I said, yeah. She said, why? And I said, because you're all wet down there, and the rain doesn't, the rain's not falling, you're already all wet. And so I went out, and got out to my dive site. And what I realized is my dive computer is kaput. So now I have no way of measuring my depth, no way of measuring how long I stayed, no way of knowing how fast to come up. So what I needed to do is learn what I have learned by goal setting in shallow water diving, and that is, you can tell by the strata and by the fish and by the environment just about what depth you're at. And if you look up, I can kind of know what depth I'm at. So I can dive in safe limits for solo diving. The other thing is, you don't want to come up too fast when you're diving with compressed air, because you can cause what's called embolization, where it's just not a good thing. So what you do is, when you don't have this stuff, they did this before computers, you kind of look up and then you watch your bubbles and you make sure you're going 3 times slower than the bubbles that are coming up. So anyway, I had a wonderful dive, got a couple of nice lobsters, didn't I, Sheila? Yeah, really nice lobsters. We had a nice lobster dinner, yummy for my tummy, right? It's just so great. It's like, so the goal is having fun. That's number one. Having fun, going, get some fresh food out of a clean ocean that's healthy for us, which supports the health goal. And so I get home and I start looking at the computer, and I thought, oh, I wonder if there's something wrong with it. Maybe it's flooded. Once in a while, diving computers get flooded. Water gets in them and they're kaput. There was nothing on the screen at all. And then I thought, well, I think I'll take it apart and have a look. Cleaned it off, got it all nice clean, took the inspection cover off, and there was no water in the computer. And then I saw there's 2 little contacts. The battery sits here. There's a contact here, to make completion of the circuit, to get plugged in and see and make everything work. So what I did is I bent down the contact a little bit here and this one here, put it together so the contacts, connections are working, and I put the computer back together and it's working perfectly. Please hear me. When you connect to who you are, your spiritual power, you can be, do, and have anything for yourself and your life that you want to. Because you know it's not you alone. There's a bigger power. There's an awesome God. There's a spiritual being. There's a consciousness that created all the billions of galaxies and the billions of years, and that loving God who gives us the privilege of having it inside of us to create what we want for ourselves and our lives. It is just phenomenal how it works. Now, when you let go of painful past feelings, here's what happens automatically. You can't have 2 thoughts at the same time. Can't have it. You either have one thought, you either have a disempowering thought or a empowering thought, a negative thought or a positive thought. Please hear me. When you let go of your painful past, you're positive, powerful, provocative, incredible, life-generating, abundance-generating, relationship-generating, health-generating thoughts come forward. And those thoughts affect your body, your mind, your strength, your soul, and all of it. Dr. Holmes put it this way: we are continuously living a new life. And when the old and the new do not fit together, check this out, the old no longer being able to contain the new must be regarded. Feelings of failure, feelings of I'm not enough, uncertainty, and all that doubt, you know how that's developed? We go in the past and we take a memory, and then we think we are what happened to us. You're not what happened to you. You're not a failure. You're not full of doubt. No, you are the person who went through the past, the spirit that went through the past, and the past is what happened. You're not a failure. You may have been through some failures. You're not uncertain. You may feel uncertain sometimes. The only time I feel uncertain is right the minute I come out from meditation, like it's all wonderful. And then chopping wood and hunting wonder again, right out of meditation. You know, it's just that way. It is absolutely that way. There's a wonderful lady, and it is Molly V-A-S-S, Molly Voss, and she said this: the stuff of our lives doesn't change. You ever notice that? It's saved, there's all stuff happening. It's like people are poor, they got no money, they got stuff happening. People are rich, they got billions of dollars, they got stuff happening. There's always stuff to deal with. Sometimes we think the enlightened ones never had stuff to deal with. If you think Jesus, Krishna, Mother Teresa, you name the person, Abraham, all the great mystics, all those gurus that you love, they put on their pants one leg at a time, and they're dealing with issues all the time. And if they pretend like they're not, they're lying to you. Oh, this person is just feeling bliss all the time. Nobody does. Not in a space-time reality. There's up, there's down, there's high, there's low, I feel good, I feel bad. There's all of that. But you even feel good when things are bad, when you're being conscious. Molly Voss said, the stuff of our lives doesn't change. It is we who change in relation to it. You know how you know that past pain is healed? When you think about it now, you don't go through the same past pain again now. You get what I'm talking about here? When you remember, I had a wonderful experience of this, about past pain. Sheila and myself went over to Rob, my son-in-law's, and Jennifer and Sydney's son-in-law, daughter, and granddaughter for Christmas. And every Christmas, now I hadn't seen or spoken to my wife in 35 years. That's more than a couple of weeks. That's more than just a little tiff or a little argument. And I had been wanting to speak with her. I've been wanting to get it healed with her. See, your relationship with the other person is not your relationship with the other person. Your relationship is with you. And when your relationship with you is good, your relationship with the other person is great because your relationship with you is good, and what they're doing, they're doing. Now, anyway, she'll call up, say we're coming over, and I didn't know whether they were there. Don and his wife, and my first wife, Barbara, and Sheila said nonchalantly, well, I guess we're going over to Jen and Rob's and Sydney's, and your ex-wife is there. And I said, well, do they know I'm coming over? And she said, yeah. She said, yeah. Now, this is the very first time. Up until now, you don't exist in my life. You know the thing you block off? You know the thing you want to shut behind the door? It's always there, knocking at the door. Knock, 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 knock. Always knocking at the door. We go over it, and it was incredible. It was incredible. I looked at my wife, she looked at me, and I saw a totally different being than I'd known 35 years ago. She was not the same person. She had grown, she had expanded, she had changed, and so had I. You know what bothers me when I see somebody I hadn't seen in 25 years and say, hey, how's it going? What's going on? Oh, nothing new. Please. It's like, that's limping through life as being not what you are. And so we had a wonderful conversation, we had a wonderful time, and she has seizures, and she passes out and has these seizures, and now she's got this seizure dog. I didn't even know there was a seizure dog. You know, the thing I knew was Sid Seizure and Imogene Coca, right? She's got this seizure dog, and she's holding the seizure dog, and I said, what is the dog for? And she said, that's my seizure dog. And I said, well, how does that work? How does that work? And she said, well, about 5 minutes before I go into a seizure, the dog lets me know, and then I take my medication, and it takes away the seizure. And now, for years, they couldn't go places together, they couldn't be out there and do things together, and now her and her husband, Don, who was my best friend and a real estate broker that I used to deal with when I was in real estate in Oregon, seeing him was a joy. I sat on the couch, hadn't seen him for 35 years. We spoke to him a couple of times, and so I said, Don, I said, how's it going? And he said, fine, and we were just connected like it was yesterday. And I said, so how's Buckwheat doing? Buckwheat was a 52 Oldsmobile. Remember when you used to put, a long time ago, you put like things on this record label, titles on the side of your car, like So Fine, or Heaven and Paradise, or Mr. Cool, you don't remember that. It was another time. And so, anyway, he had buckwheat written on the side. He said, oh, buckwheat. And we started talking about joyous times together when I sold him his first piece of property in Oregon and how he moved along and became a real estate broker and an investor and all that stuff and was very successful. It was just really, really, absolutely, really great. But it was just, I can't tell you the joy that I felt when we left there. Like, that is healed. Please hear me. When you heal it in one relationship, you heal it for all relationships. I watched Sydney watch what was going on. She's no dummy. These kids are smart as a whip when they're about 7 using that computer, you know what I mean? They're in a place we were not at. And she was just watching it all, smile on her face. So when there's healing with Barbara, there's healing with Rob, there's healing with Jennifer, there's healing with everyone. So that was the goal, and it's absolutely wonderful. It's absolutely great. It's just like being polite and being loving towards each other. Now, here's the deal. If you want to have a really good 2017, stop hanging around with people who talk about their pain and their hurts and their complaints constantly. They're using you. They're manipulating you. They're dominating you with their story about their hurt, their pain, and ain't it awful. And I want to tell you something. They don't care a thing about you. What they want is an audience for their pain. Start hanging around with people who look for the power in you, and look for the good in you, and look for the substantial person that you are, and who want to tell you about how good you are and how they like to be with you, and then you tell them empowering things, and you grow like that. It's called, you know, being in an environment where who you are gets fed. Just like being in the ocean, being with you. What you believe and what you see feeds me. Feeding you feeds me. I get more out of giving this talk than you do, for sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, spend less time. I want to read this, and this is important. This is from the Bible. I love it. This one thing I do, forgetting those things which are behind me, called the past, I press on towards the goal of the high calling of God. And the high calling of God is when you are moved, touched, and inspired, and your life has meaning, purpose, and a sense of destiny, destination, destiny. When you have a sense of destiny, and you are moved, touched, and inspired, your passion will be more powerful than any fear or any doubt or any certainty. Passion is power, and you can't have passion without fear, doubt, and uncertainty. But it's how you look at it and how you put it in your mind. Absolutely. Now, you know, think about this yourself. When you're risking, and creating goals is taking a risk. You might not become too, but risking is exciting. The biggest risk in life is to take no risk at all, because then you're numb. Then you're not vital. Then you're a member of the living dead. You're not full of charisma and full of joy. When you're risking and growing, you are most lovable to yourself. You don't have to work on self-love. When you're risking and growing, you become what you want. And what you become, please hear me, when you're risking and growing, you become a force for good in the universe. The word good comes, the word God comes from the word God, good. God, good. When you become good for other people, you become God in you, celebrating the God in them, and being there for other people. William James, wonderful, wonderful man. He wrote about self-actualization, and this was one, I think it was in the 13th century. It was a self-actualization psychiatrist. He was wonderful. He said this: we can go backwards towards safety, toward safety or forward toward growth. Growth must be chosen again and again. Fear must be overcome again and again. When you stop seeing your fear as your identity, and you know your identity is in spirit, and use the fear as the energy of passion, your outcomes are totally different. What you create in the world are totally different. I had a friend in Oregon. His name was Tom Farmer. Now, Tom Farmer was a Brahma bull rider. Tom Farmer would go around the rodeo circus, and I met him, and we had this instant connection. He was a very incredible cowboy metaphysician. He knew the stuff. Anyway, I'm talking to him, and I said, Tom, it's amazing of what, with the rodeos coming, you know, and Josephine County Fairgrounds, it was a huge deal, the rodeo, and he would ride these huge Brahma bulls. Now, these bulls weigh anywhere between 1,500 and a ton, 2,000 pounds. They're big, and they're strong, and they are full of energy and aliveness. They are amazing. I have watched them in the paddock and watched their eyes quiver, and they're snorting and slobbering. Man, they're ready to go. They're full of life. And Tom Farmer rides these things. Now, I asked him one day, I said, what's the goal when you're riding a bull? He said, Brian, the goal is to stay on the back of that thing 10 seconds. I mean, pardon, 8 seconds. 8 seconds. And when you're on the back of that bull, 8 seconds seems like an eternity. Now, here is goal setting. Riding bulls. Here's what he said first. He said, first, every bull I ride is called fear. It was called, oh gosh, one of the name of the bulls he rode. They were incredible. Oh, Mr. Twister. Mr. Twister was one he rode. Big, huge, off-white Brahma bull, huge. The head's about that wide. Have you ever seen a bull real close? Their head's about that wide. If you sit on them, you're like this. They're about that wide. 2,000 pounds, go for it. And what they do is they put this belly rope around, it's called a flank rope, that jiggles and aggravates the bull, and you're holding on to that flank rope right here to stay on the bull, and when you pull, it agitates the bull, and the bull's got one thing in mind, bucking you off. Here's what Tom said. First of all, look at the bull as fear. Then look at yourself as fearless. Look at yourself as brave, as daring. Then the bull has got no chance. Number two, he says, you get to feeling real alive. You feel totally alive. There's no place you feel more alive than when you're on the back of a Brahma. If you want to get alive and you're depressed, sit on the back of a Brahma, even one that's parked, and you stand there, you can't get out. I'm sure you're going to become alive. And then he said, get on and go with the bull's energy. You know what a bronc rider or a bull rider is going like this? They're just not waving at the audience. They're going with the energy, and they're being balanced as their one hand's holding on like this for dear life, you know, and they're going like this. And he said, then you go with the energy, and pretty soon, that big old bull and you become one. There's no bull in me. Now, this is no bull when I'm telling this, Brian. I know what you're talking about. Tell me more. There's just you and the bull, and you are one. And when you get to be in that rhythm and the flow, riding that bull, it's a joy, and it's absolutely wonderful. And the next thing he said that's more important is, you better know how to fall, because most of the time, you're going to get bucked off. Sometimes with goals, you're riding high, and you get bucked off. And he said, it's knowing how to fall. That man could get thrown off a Brahma bull and land on his feet. You ever see a Brahma bull rider do that? Very few people can do that. He said, and then the clowns come. He said, you got to have it funny. You got to have it good. You got to have a lot of fun. Then the clowns come, and the clowns save you if you can't get back up. The clowns are there to have the bull's attention. And he said, you got to have a lot of humor. You got to be like a clown. You got to make it fun and put your attention on the fun, And then the most important thing is you got to get back up, dust your jeans off, and get right back on the next bull you see coming down the pike. And I thought, what a great way to look at goals. What a wonderful way to look at goals. To look at goals as, this is me, and this is the goal over there. And what you do is you just look at your be what you want. You already be the bull rider. You already be the loving person. You already be the financially successful person. You already be the person who's in well-being. The conditions do not matter. It's who you are in your mind that matters. I have a friend, and my friend has stage 3 cancer. I love this guy, and he is amazing. Just about a month and a half ago, they said, you know, you're not going to make it. You're going to die, you know. And he's been preparing. He knows that. Anyway, but what happened was a miracle. What happened is because he asked a question, because his goal was to stay till 2017. And I said, are you going to do it one day at a time? And he said, no, I do it one moment at a time. One day at a time. It's just like this moment, living in this moment. And so what happened is, he asked a question which made the oncologist, the surgeons, and the doctor question the medication, you know, some of these drugs that they're kind of exploring with. And he had a question. He said, I want you to ask, I want to know, does this new drug that's supposed to keep me alive, how does that counteract with the other 6 or 7 drugs? And what they discovered is it's poison. The cancer wasn't killing him. The poison in his system was. They changed the drugs. He's fine now. He still walks now. He still has goals now. He just went on a trip with his wife to Cuba because he said, I said, why'd you go to Cuba? And he said, I don't know. It just seemed like something wonderful to do, and I like all those old cars. So he took a trip to Cuba. He's living his life as though he's going to die, and he's living it fully. When you live your life as you're going to die tomorrow or in the next breath, you can live it fully, fearlessly, with passion, with love, with inspiration, with depth and meaning. I love you and I support you. What I want from you, the goal is next year, 2018 New Year's, that we have 100 or more people in full attendance. 100 or more. That could be 1,000. It could be 500. Not so as I get admired, not so as look at me, but so as that we serve other people and teach them these principles that make people live fully, that make people get their finances all in order, they get to know their richness, and to get their relationships. The whole thing's about relationship. You've heard me say this. When you feel better about you in the presence of someone else, you know they love you. When they feel better about themselves in your presence, they know you love them. All of the love you will ever get from anybody else will come from one source, making them feel good about themselves around you. And when I say, I love you, the love doesn't go over there. When I say, oh, Sheila, I love you, and I do, I adore this woman. She is absolutely amazing. I absolutely adore her. You know, if it wasn't for Sheila, Les wouldn't have even been discovered. It was Dr. Sheila who found Les. So let's acknowledge Dr. Sheila. Yeah. She's strong, she's powerful, she's vulnerable, she's loving. She's exactly who she is. I've tried to change her a dozen times. And you know, when I have a bad day, you know, when you have a bad day, you want to change somebody else, right? That's how you try to. I'm gonna get fixed by dominating, controlling, and manipulating you into changing to be the person that makes me feel good about me, right? It's all about me anyway. I want to get for what I want from you because I love you so much. No, I want it for me. So if you're giving the love to the other person, and when you say, I love you, you're saying, when I'm around you, I feel good about me. Have those people around you. Be with people who love you. not people who want to control you, not people who want an audience for their pity pot. I mean, I saw a homeless man here standing at a freeway off-ramp, and he had the light in his eyes, and he looked really strong and alive, and he had this sign that says, homeless, but not unworthy. And I may have shared that. I reached from my pocket and I gave him some money right away because I know he won't be homeless for long because of his worthfulness and his energy. And I said, I see you working pretty soon. He said, so do I. Absolutely. He's already being the goal. I love you. I support you. I'm in it with you. I promise for the next year I will give everything I got to every talk and every one of you and leave all of me with you fully. And when you give everything you got and leave all of you, like if the singer leaves all the song out there in the audience and not about how am I doing, if I leave all of me with you, I absolutely know then that you've got it. And you know what? The only way to get other people to get it is know you've got it. I want you to know that. Your love, your self-esteem, your health, your strength. I'm with you in it all the way, and so it is. Thank you. Thank you. So let's take a moment and let's go with it. So knowing there's only one mind, one power, only God. And as the good book says, in God we live, move, and have our being. There's only God. And God created us out of Himself. We are heirs of God, children of God. Everything that's true about God, Spirit, is true about us. So we unite. We unify with the One, knowing that the Great One is who we are individually, each expressions of God. And please say silently with me, starting here, starting now, I know that my life is a work in progress. Therefore, I include mistakes, uncertainty, failure, and fear as inspiration, as power, as energy. And that energy that's flowing through me, flowing through you, flowing through that Brahma bowl, flowing through everything is the energy of God. And it's undifferentiated. We get to choose what the energy does. We are the masters of our destiny. We are the captains of our soul. You are the answer you've been looking for. You are the question and the answer. You are God, all children of the Most High. And we absolutely cut loose, rip it up. As my friend Tom Farmer said, when you get on the boat and the energy's flowing through you, just ride to glory. And we ride to glory every day in every way. And I release these words into the infinite law, knowing that when I speak them, they're heard. My words do not come back to me void, but they accomplish a thing where I sent them to. And with a grateful heart for all my past relationships and all of your past relationships, because they all taught you something. They taught you how to become you. The pain was a lesson. And then we moved to positivity, and we're sitting in the glory. I release, I let go with a grateful heart. It's already done. It's already being, and so are you. And together we say, and so it is. And so it is. So, as the ushers are coming forward for the offertory,